What's up? What's up? What's up, everybody? Hey, so we're back at it, you guys, and we have an amazing topic for you. Well, for us, but for you to listen in on. And then as you watch, you can chit chat and chime in as you please.
Right.
Yes. So I have my baby right here.
Tiffany.
Yes.
And here's my bestie.
Miss Sue, Miss Sue. Coach Sue to you. So tonight we are going to be talking about relationships, but basically when it comes to parents and how we were raised. Were you raised in a single parent home or were you raised in a two parent home? And how did it affect you now as an adult? So,
Right. So I'll be giving the perspective of a single parent home, and Sue will be giving the perspective of a two family home.
yes.
So let's go ahead and get started, Sue. First question, you ready?
Ready.
All right. So our first question today is, what advice would your mom or dad give you when looking for or dating a man?
My mom would say, well, I did say, keep your legs closed. And she never was one to say a kiss will make you pregnant, but she did say, don't be flouncing your legs open. Dad really didn't give any advice about dating. He really didn't have too much to say. But mom was the one that was, if anything, planting a few seeds, just, to not be a loose girl.
Right.
And she hated when I had friends that was loose. And I got whippings for having friends that were loose, and they were loose, and I was not. But I got penalized for hanging with them. But my mom, yeah, she would just say, don't be loose, don't be out there, laying up with everybody and throwing your legs open. She just keep your legs closed, because if they really love you, they'll wait.
Right.
You
And
know.
your dad didn't want you dating anyway because you wasn't supposed to start dating until you were 60.
True that. Right, yeah. He said, I ain't gonna talk about it, then she won't do it.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
that's
right.
a good point. I
The
was a daddy's
denial.
girl. Yeah, he's like, I ain't talking about it because you don't need to be doing it. Yeah,
Right.
because in his eyes, I was always a baby. Even when he left this earth, I was still the baby. I was, almost 60. He was like, I was still the baby. So that's a good point. Yeah, he didn't want to talk about it because he didn't want me to do it. But mom, she figured because I had friends and I'd be like them. But I learned from their mistakes. So, but yeah, that was her thing. Keep your legs closed. Don't be out there freak naked with everybody, and just treasure what you have. So
Right.
enjoy that moment. So, and I appreciated that. I appreciated that. Yeah.
So as for me, my mom always told me to kind of be a more so independent kind of woman and never depend on anybody. So to always get my own. It wasn't to chase after a man or anything, but to let him come to you. Um, what else? We didn't really have a lot of discussions, but you know how I have the whole vision thing where I can't drive at night. My mom always brought everybody to the house, so that was friends and that was boyfriends as well. And that's how she could make sure that everything was watched and in order. But I don't think she really gave me that much dating advice other than to not depend on a man. And I feel like that really damaged me going forward in the future because with that mentality, it makes dating hard because men are like, oh, you don't want to depend on a man, you want to be independent. Do you, boo, by yourself and just keep doing it.
That part. That part. That part. That part.
So that's been a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's good. You brought out a good point. My dad, now I think once you said that, it brought back a memory with my dad. He didn't say anything about dating, but he did teach me how to be independent. He taught me how to budget. He taught me how to get a job, how to watch my pennies, save. He taught me, he helped me with my first credit. So he definitely was preparing me to be independent. So it was like unspoken words. And then with mom, it brought back a memory of when I did have little boyfriends. Try to call them boyfriends. Mom made them come, and we had to sit up in the living room with mom. So it was me and him and mom sitting in the living room. I only did that once, and that was enough because I didn't want to be sitting up there with a boyfriend and my mama all up in his face. So it's like, So we just dated at school, but I think that was her way of protecting me. So,
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
you mentioned that did bring up that thought. If she's there, then ain't nothing gonna happen.
Right.
Right.
And one thing that I can value about mom, that when I did bring a boyfriend around, she could tell me automatically,
Mm-hmm.
Like even with my ex, she was like, when I brought him home the first time, she was like, But of course, she grew to like him because he's a
Mm-hmm.
likable person. But
Mm-hmm.
now that I look back, it's like I should have listened.
Mm-hmm.
But I also needed that, to grow and be the person I am today. So I do appreciate the experience. But mom knows best. And it took me this long to realize that mom does know best. And now that I don't have mom, I'm just like, I'm on my own. I got to
Right.
figure it out myself.
Right. Right. She planted enough seeds in you though that you are swimming. You're not. You're swimming. You're staying afloat. So yeah. So good food. Good food. That's good. Yeah. So yeah, that brought back some memories. But yeah, it was some good seeds planted. I think we both turned out pretty good.
I think I turned out just a little crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I had to take a sip on that one.
You ready for the next question?
But crazy is good. Crazy is good. I don't care what why you say. Okay, crazy. I could either be crazy laughing or crazy sad. I think I'd rather be crazy laughing. What you think? She took a drink on that one too. So
Okay.
take two sips.
So our next question:
Okay. Mm-hmm.
If you could change anything about how you were raised and why?
Um, if I could change anything about how I was raised, mm, I probably would change the fact. Um, we used to have like a curfew. If we went out like to a house party, we had a curfew. We had to be home by midnight.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember my parents driving up. They had a white station wagon. It was huge. That was like the biggest station wagon they ever had. It had red interior, but my friends called it the coach, like Cinderella when she had to get in that coach and try to get away before she turned back into the slave or the maid. And so they were like, the white coach is here, the white coach is here. And so my friends used to make fun of me at school, about the white coach because I had to be home by midnight. And so they would come, they would drive up and pick me up. And the reason I would want to change that, it was so humiliating. And I know they didn't do it to embarrass me, they did it to protect me by coming to pick me up, but it was so embarrassing. And I had to deal with that at school during that age period, that teenage period, where people just knew like, she ain't staying out after midnight. The white coach is gonna come pick her up, and they used it to tease me. And I think um, now that I think about it, I think that's affected me now as an adult because when people tease me, I don't like it. I don't like it because it takes me back to when I was in high school and my friends teased me and it made me feel really bad. So that's like the residue from the embarrassment that I had back then. So, if you tease me about, something, I'm not laughing with you, but you're laughing at me, it affects me in a really negative way. So maybe I need counseling.
Counseling is always suggested.
Yes, yes, there's nothing wrong with that. To get over that embarrassment and that shame that the kids cause, and even now adults still do it. It's kind of like making fun of your inabilities or your weaknesses and your flaws. A lot of things are not funny. So if
Yeah.
you say something, try to embarrass me, and if you notice I don't laugh with you, it's because I don't think it's funny. And again, I think now I think as I talk out loud about it, that's probably why, because I never knew where that came from.
Yeah.
But I bet that's probably where the root of it was.
Yeah.
So if I could change anything, then it would be that, maybe they extended letting me stay out or giving me the opportunity to just come home on my own versus driving up in that white coach and picking me up, and me having to go through that shame like at school, all the time. So yeah, that would be just thinking of one thing that would probably be it. But I feel like they raised me well. They raised me to love the Lord. They made sure I went to worship, that I had a personal relationship with God. They taught me again about being independent, paying bills, being responsible, being a woman. My mom taught me, how to dress and all that. But
Yeah.
that's a different question. So, but yeah, I would change that. That's what I would change. That the white coach didn't have to show up at midnight. That I wasn't gonna turn into a frog or nothing. But I understand their reasoning for it. But if I could go back and do it again, I would ask, could I stay out later or can I just come home on my own? Yeah. To
Yeah.
avoid the embarrassment.
And you
Yeah.
mentioned something about your parents exposing you to the church, or making sure that that was something that you had consistent in your life. And that's not something that I personally had consistent in my life, but if you could help me out with the saying, if you like, basically, if you take them to church as children, they won't stray as adults, kind of thing.
Right.
So I'm glad that my mom introduced it to me as a youngin, because I can't even imagine being how old I was and how I didn't go to church back then, how I am right now. Like, I cannot miss a Sunday. And that's all from what my mom instilled in me when I was a little girl. And I find it very important that, I'm in the children's ministry, that I'm planting those seeds where children will eventually do what I'm doing today. But anyway, a little bit off topic.
Yep.
Let me bring it back. But
That's good.
I do appreciate that my mom did that, even though we weren't consistent. I will say one thing that I would change in the way she raised me. I think they did a phenomenal job. I think she did a phenomenal job of what she had. Uh, my mom honestly would have been dirt poor. Like, we would have been on like food stamps and all of this stuff. It wasn't for my aunt Lori, who was in the military and needed somebody to watch her house. So that's what moved me to Atlanta, and I ended up not living in this low class like lifestyle, but more so of a middle class. And I really appreciate my aunt for allowing us to be a part of her life. So they raised me, and they were very strict. Aunt was in the military, and my mom was just like, aunt was daddy, and mommy was mommy, and daddy, and dictator, and everything.
All that.
But I wish they would have forced me to be a little bit more well-rounded. Um, Even though I do seem a little bit well-rounded as an adult, I feel like it would have been better if I would have been exposed to that as a child, like being in more extracurricular activities and such.
Right.
Um, because I feel like I have no hobbies. Like, as a child, I feel like I cheered a little bit when I was 6. And that was it.
Wow.
So if I did anything in college, like I rode for a bit in college, they were like, "This is phenomenal. You've never done anything." But I wish they would have let me stay in extracurricular activities a little bit more, because when I got in trouble, they took it from me. Because I had great grades and all this stuff, so there wasn't much they could take from me.
Right.
So they would take it from me, and it's like, that really wasn't a good thing to take.
Right.
As far as relationships go, my mom, to me, I wish she didn't teach me to run. I am a runner. She taught me that in order to fix your problems, you can just start over.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it kind of, like, my current situation, is something I'm working on, and I don't feel like I'm necessarily starting over, but I wish she didn't teach me to handle situations like that.
They'll teach you a better way.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, because if you keep running, you'll never learn how to fix anything. And it's like, when you said run, I thought of Forrest Gump. He in part of the movie he took off running because the girl that he loved didn't want him. And so it was a problem for him. It was hard for him to deal with. So what did he do? He took off running. And he just ran and he was just running across country. They had nowhere to go, but he was trying to run his problem out.
Right.
And literally, like, he just got one day he finally just stopped and said, "Okay, no more running." And he stopped and he walked back to walked back to the situation and had to deal with it. Of course, she was there waiting on him, but it's like, when you run from stuff, you never learn how to resolve problems.
Yeah.
I can understand, you're wanting to do something different. Wish she had did something different to teach you how to face your troubles.
Right.
Even if you choose to walk away from the relationship, at least know that you resolved all the issues, and it's just like, you're not for me, I'm not for you, and not just in relationship. It be your job. We run from jobs sometimes. We run from church to church. Church helping you get church hurt. And you want to leave your church because you got church hurt, instead of learning how to deal with that pain. Because wherever you go, there's going to be someone that's going to say something or do something that's going to offend you. So how are you going to handle that situation? You can only run for so long, but you got to turn around and face it, and God will help you to face it. So that would have been a good seed.
And I think what's helped is that I've had people that know of this, and they're patient enough with me, and they'll pull me back and be like, "Tiffany, you're running. We're
Mm,
gonna sit and handle this right now. So it's like I appreciate those people for being in my life and having me and stopping me from continuously running.
right, right. So what was done then is changing now. The it's your life is changing because you're aware, and that's not how you want to move forward with it.
Right.
So, and that's how it gets resolved. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And I always say that, God works in mysterious ways and I don't know, I guess it was my mom's, it was time for her to be done with whatever she was doing. But
Hmm.
like even starting new relationships, she would always be like, "Oh, it's not working, come back." I don't have that anymore. So as I start
Mm,
these new relationships with different people, it's like I have to, change and stop running,
yeah,
going off what mama taught
right.
me.
Yeah, you have to stay there and figure it out, or move forward, but move forward, not running away from it, but just saying it's a new season.
Right.
Yeah, and be okay with it. Yeah, yeah. No regrets, no regrets. Wow.
Mhm.
Yep, I have to take a sip on that one too. Hold, please. Maybe two sips.
Let me not joke.
All right. All right. Okay. Y'all ready for number three? Number
Number
three.
three.
Okay.
What do you wish your parents would have taught you or showed you to help prepare you to be better in relationships?
Ooh, repeat that again, please.
What do you wish that your parents would have taught you or showed you to help prepare you to be better in relationships?
Hmm.
I know for me, I was telling you earlier, I didn't see many positive relationships in my life. And my mom, she had her share of good boyfriends, but it's like they ended up just disappearing. So I never really saw them argue or anything. I wish my mom would have kind of taught me conflict resolution. Um, I'm the type of person, I don't mind arguing in front of people. I know some parents don't argue in front of, their children and such, but, argue in a healthy way.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't have to be, putting people down and such, but you can argue in a healthy way and come to a resolution. And then your children will see that and they'll be like, okay, we can solve problems, even though we're upset and we don't have to disrespect each other. So I wish that's something my mom would have
Good one. That's a good one. I think with mine, and we were talking about this before we came on air this evening about um they can't teach you what they don't know.
taught me.
And so with me, what I wish that they had um, instilled in me was furthering my education and not letting me back out of it. My dad had an eighth grade education. My mom had high school education. Um, but beyond that, there was nothing. And so going to college or furthering my education was not something that came out of my parents' mouth. And like you said, they can't teach what they don't know or
Yeah.
they
Right.
don't live.
Right.
And they're were farm kids, and they were raised in Arkansas, and it was just survival. And so that's what they lived, that example of survival, how to survive, do whatever you can to survive, feed all those kids, and make sure that everybody's clothed and in their right mind and in the house. But I wish that they had taught or instilled or showed me or encouraged me or even pushed me into furthering my education. I went to college, but I only went for 1 or 2 semesters. And then when I got that job and started making money, I dropped out of college because it was about survival.
Hmm.
So, but if they had furthered their education, I think they would have been encouraging me to further my education. The only person that talked about education was our late pastor, Dr. E.W. Rowland. He did try to encourage us to go to college and further our education as far as the youth, because he really spent a lot of time with us. So I was thankful for that. He planted the seed, but the the dominating factor was the fact of survival. So once I dropped out of college to make that money, I didn't go back till later, way later, to get that AA. And now, I just was sharing with you this week that it was put in my spirit to go back and get my BA. But here I am, almost, I ain't gonna say almost about to die, but I'm really, 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 really older than I was back when I should have went to school and finished my education. It's because I'm telling you, I could be so much more further in my
Yeah.
career. if I had that paper, if I had that degree. But my work experience does not negate that fact. I mean, I'm good where I am now, but I could be greater if I had higher education. So I wish that they had taught me and influenced and encouraged me to pursue my education and not let me quit. When I dropped out of college, they should have said, no, you stay in there until you finish and then you can do what you want. And it would have been for my good. It would have been for my. But again, they couldn't teach me that because that's not something that they pursued.
Yeah.
And the pastor did try to instill in us, but my parents' example was more dominant than what the pastor was telling me when it came to education versus survival. I want to survive right now. I like the money; it's coming in. It's not a lot, but it's more than what I was making. Excuse me, it was enough for me to survive and have an apartment, but like I said, now that this time in my life, I could have been a lot further if I had continued and went as far as I wanted to go with my education, or more so, because I went to school just so I wouldn't be bored, and then when I got the job, I quit.
Yeah.
So, because again, it was Survivor. So yeah, I just wish that they had encouraged me to pursue my higher education. Now, I know that's something I love about being here in the South. It's like it's not a question. There's two things you're gonna do. You're gonna go to church and you're gonna go to college. Mm-hmm. That's what the parents teach here on this end. But I was raised in California, and that's not what they taught out there. But yeah, so that's what I would change.
Yeah, my mom really pushed me to get my education, and she tried to kind of trick me into continuing into my master's program, but I was not ready. Of course, I'm almost done with my master's program now.
She sounded like I'm almost done my master's
almost,
program.
I'm struggling, man. I'm struggling.
Like, that's like saying I went in the kitchen and boiled some eggs. I boiled some eggs and that's huge.
But anyway,
huge.
About you.
Yes.
Your time is now. Your time wasn't back then. It's now. And what I used to say to my friend Britannia when we were starting off in our master's program, I don't know what she's doing. She's trying to be a doctor or something. But when we were starting off, I was like, do you want to be 30 and still thinking about it? Or do you want to be 30 and there? So your time is now. Your time wasn't back then. It's now.
But I'm not 30.
It's okay. Would you rather be your next age and still stuck, or with progress?
Right.
Your time is now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It's never too late. It's never too late. And I don't even know if I'm going for the paper because I'm going to use it for the job. I think it's just a part of my life that I still need to feel like I need to finish. Yeah. And then how can I encourage my niece and nephews to go to school for their education and I didn't?
Right. Right.
I remember when I was married, my ex husband, he was trying to tell his boys, don't smoke weed. And they were like, well, you smoke it. So it was like, how, so in other words, whether you're a good example or a bad example, they're going to follow what you do.
Right.
So how can I come out of my mouth and say, you need to further your education? And because it's going to really benefit you later. Look at me. Look what happened with me. Versus, look, I went and I furthered my education, and now look at me. So you want to go ahead and get yours too. Unless you're an entrepreneur and you're really good in your business, and you don't need that paper. If you plan on working for someone, then get that paper. Get that paper. If you want to work for yourself, you won't need it. Yeah. But so it depends on what your life career goals are. Yeah. Whether you need it or not. But you're right, it's not too late. And, I was actually just surprised that, that I was even moved to go that direction. Because I talked about it to the point where I stopped talking about it. Because I was like, I'm talking about it, but I'm not being about it. And I'm good with that, with saying, if you're going to talk it, do it. Well, I was talking about, wasn't doing it. So when I finally started doing it, the two people I had been talking to about, which is my two nieces, I was happy and excited to call them and say, guess what I'm finally doing? And when I told them, they were like, what? Finally? Okay, I see you go. So, and then after talking with one of them, my Faith, now she said, I think I really need to go back too. Yeah. So see, just that, by me going back, she's encouraged to go back now. So, then I have the nephew the other night, he was talking about going back. So it's like, hey, you just never know what God has in store and how he uses us to lit the fire first with us and then pass it on. Right. So, yeah. So, but yeah, it's good. Life is good.
Yeah. And then one thing I wanted to mention based off of what you said in our question, I'm starting a business. I really value that your family encourages young entrepreneurs. You were telling me about the 10-year-old that you guys are working with to start her bracelet making business, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I wish my mom would have kind of instilled that into me because all they knew was go to your job, work for 40 years, retire, you're good. There's more to life than that. Like,
Yes.
there's more ways to make money than that. You don't have to go to school, but you do have to have a plan on how you're going to make money. So I really value that your family encourages that for children at such a young age.
Yes. Yes. All they have to do is express that they want to do it. And see, I'm a life coach, sidebar. But also, if you're trying to do something better than what you're doing, then I'm like, let's do this. Okay.
Right.
And this is what we need to do. Boom, 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 boom. I'm there. I'm in your corner. If you want to write a book, I got you. If you want to start your business, I got you. You want to further your education, I got you. Whatever you want to do that's going to take you to the next level, let's do it. And then you won't have to do it by yourself. And so, by her, yeah, calling, she actually texted me, said, Auntie, can you help me with a business plan? That's how it started off. And so I was like, we were too far from a business plan, but let's just decide what you want to do, how you want to do it, and lay it out. And yeah, being 10 and already wanting to, start to make her own money and do her own thing is awesome. And her brother, when I finished with her, finished getting her started, her brother also wants to start his own business. So he's like waiting. He's on our Zoom calls trying to listen in. She's like, it's not your turn yet. It's not your turn. But by her starting it off, being the oldest, now brother wants to start.
Right.
He wants to do a business. So yeah, we definitely, everyone from my parents on down have had an opportunity to own their own business. I've had 3 businesses in California, and then I have a business here that I started, which is the life coach. But yeah, I mean, it's in our blood, and it's like everybody should want their own.
Yeah.
And there's no excuse why you can't have it. Like our pastors have told us, we all have a gift. We all have something that's marketable or sellable. And we just have to, let it reveal itself and start to work at it. And you're an amazing baker. I've had her cookies. Have y'all had her cookies? They are delicious. I'm talking about the edibles, Yeah, they are really, they are really good. They are off the chain. Matter of fact, I think, yeah, we're going to have us some Heath cookies tonight when we get off this call.
You told me no sugar.
I know she's not going to have sugar, but it's our last night. So maybe we can do make an exception. No sugar after tomorrow, after tonight. So,
this cup is full of sugar, just so you know. It's just water, guys.
Yes. Yeah. But it's delicious. It's delicious. So, but yeah, so, wanting to be an entrepreneur, it can happen. The sky's the limit. You just have to be willing to do the work. And that's what working with this 10-year-old, it's like, you got to do the work. Mommy's not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. This is what you need to do.
Yeah.
This is your homework assignment. And then we meet every couple of days. And I give her new assignments. I'm giving her little clusters at a time to get her to that level. But she's going to be phenomenal. We've already got clients waiting to buy her merchandise. Yeah, so I'm excited for her.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's all the questions we have.
That's all the questions.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to. I thought we had one about your fondest memory.
My fondest memory.
Did we talk about that? Your fondest. What is your fondest memory with your parents? A time where it brought you. Every time you think of it, you smile.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Something, a moment that you and her shared, and every time you think about it, it's like, oh, it could be a place y'all went. It could be something that happened that had y'all cracking up laughing. It could be a picture that y'all took, and when you look at it, you remember what you were doing at that time, and you just smile. A fondest memory. While you're thinking, I can go.
Okay.
So with my dad, my fondest memory with him is going to going to camping. He used to take me and my baby brother camping in the mountains, Yosemite National Park, and we used to go up there and go camping. That was so cool. And then my brother would bring his 2 friends. He had these 2 friends that he was really close to. So it would be the 3 boys and me with my dad. The other memory, daddy would take us to it was car racing. I don't know what you call it, but like speed racing cars that drive around in a circle and it's like really fast. So he would take us to that. But dad was so frugal that instead of us paying to get in, to get into the arena, he would drive his truck and then he would drive it up to the fence, and then then it was tall. Then we would stand on top of the truck and look over the fence and watch them speeding, and sit there and cheer. Dirt would fly in our face and stuff because they're going around. It's like dirt race tracks. That was memorable to me. And lastly, with Dad, he used to take us to the movies, and that's when I first seen the movie The Birds. And on a movie screen, he took us, and that was so cool. Um, that was cool. And with Mom, my memory with her is when we used to shop. I love to watch Mom shop and how she would put her outfits together from head to toe. And then on Sunday, her and Dad would be color coordinated, and that actually has become a tradition in our family. The couples dress alike, especially for special occasions.
Mhm.
They wear the same colors, and most people don't like that. I want just like you, But my parents did it. And it went to my sisters and then their spouses, and now my nieces and nephews and their spouses. They like to color coordinate whenever we go places. So that's something. And then as far as being a lady, my mom taught me how to be a lady, how to carry myself like a lady, how to care about how I look. I'm not the greatest right now, but I'm still cute right now, okay? But
Fine. Stop.
but I am color coordinated. Okay, even down to the shoes, y'all. Let me show you. I ain't playing. Y'all, I don't even play. Blue and white, don't play, don't play. Delphina Edwards child right here, okay? We got to be head to toe. So my mom taught me how to make sure, whenever I went out that I was on point. Head to toe, color coordinated, and I always get compliments when I go to different places. They said, "Oh, you matching head to toe." It's like, yeah. What you want me to match head to knee? What? You gotta have a complete look. You can't be half stepping. So she taught me that. That's my fondest memories with her. And then when I used to ask Mom to pose for pictures, she would do these crazy poses. Like there was a time she was in a car, and I was like, "Mom, get out the car and take the picture." And she got out the car and she kicked her leg up, and I have those pictures. And every time I look at them in her photo albums, I have a photo album with Mom's pictures and I have a photo album with Dad. So when I look in there on Mother's Day and on Father's Day, I look and I remember those moments and I laugh because those were great times, that we had together. But my favorite picture of her though is when I asked her to pose. She was standing next to Daddy, and I said, "You and Daddy take a picture." And this was something they rarely did, but she sat on his lap and gave him like the biggest kiss, and then they started laughing, and I took the picture after that moment. So those are the fondest memories, of my mom. And she was like to take pictures. So I got that from her. So I'm like the photographer of the family, and I call it making memories. So when she left here, I continued that legacy. So I am a picture fanatic. You will always have a picture of my whole life story. Used to be in photo albums, but that got old. So now on USB drives, on the laptop or in the phone, lots of pictures just to remember the things that were great. So
Totally down memory lane. I'm sorry.
oh,
Oh gosh. So I'm gonna start with my aunt to see if my emotions will get in check because I was mentioning earlier how it was my mom and my aunt Lori that raised me. Um, so Aunt Lori, I think my fondest memory with her, I would say there's two. One was we would be, I guess, in the kitchen. Aunt Lori was always not was she's still alive. Lori is always a crazy dancer. Okay, me and my mom have this memory that one day she picked her leg up at this event and she was down for like 5 days. So my they're entertaining family, so she was probably entertaining real hard and kicked that leg up, and it got I don't know.
Pay for it later.
Yeah, but like being in the kitchen, not knowing, just like dancing on her feet when I used to not be her height because I'm like taller than her now, so I used to stand on her feet and she would dance, and we would walk around the kitchen and stuff like that. And then as far as like the whole sorority thing, I'm her legacy because she didn't have any children. So that's something that we share and still share to this day. Is being her legacy for Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated.
.com.
And then as far as my mom, she used to take me to work with her a couple of times a year or so. And she would get me Einstein Brothers on the way there, and I would try to go to sleep on her desk, and she'd be like, "You gotta sit up. You can't lay your head down." So that was fun. And then both of them together would do this thing called Hampton Hotel. I was mentioning earlier how everybody has to come to the house. She didn't like me going over anybody else's house. So
Mm-hmm.
like my girlfriends would come over and we would basically open up the Hampton Hotel. We'd have popcorn. We'd get us these little wine glasses with
Mm-hmm.
juice. And we'd
Mm-hmm.
have pizza. And it was just
Oh.
a real fun time.
Mm-hmm.
And then but just between me and my mom, she liked chocolate pudding, but
Mm-hmm.
she liked the kind that you make on the stove, so it had to be hot.
Oh, okay. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
so those
Okay.
are my memories. Down memory lane. I haven't had that
Oh.
chocolate pudding in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Guess I can't have it
No, no sweets, no sweets. Right, right. The sacrifices we have to make, you know. Yes, yes, yes. Wow, that's cool. What about your auntie? Oh my goodness. Yeah. I bet she didn't kick
now.
her leg up no more.
She still think I'm like, have you saw that video of my
Well,
grandma?
yeah. Well, yeah. Yeah.
They both crazy.
No. I ain't trying to live in nobody's hospital. But yeah, just those kind of memories just, make you want to appreciate life even more. I know with me, my mom, she loved to turn up. My dad was more mellow. He was like, he wasn't stern or strict, but he was more powerful when he didn't say anything than when he spoke.
Mhm.
And so he never whipped me. Mom did the whipping with me. Dad never whipped me, but he would talk to me. And when he talked to me and made me think about what I did, what I got in trouble for, I would literally be in tears.
Yeah,
It was worse than a whipping because he made me think.
yeah.
He's like, "Why did you do that?" And then when I would answer, he said, "Does that make any sense?" And he said, "Why are you out there following people? You're a leader. Why are you following people?" And that's what helped me to become a leader because my dad spoke it into me. He's like, maybe take ownership of it. But his talks was worse than my mom's whippings. Because the whippings, I might go and do it again one or two more times until I just got tired of getting whipped for it. But when my dad, when he talked to me, he made me think, and I never did those things again because he taught me how to think. So think before you do things. And so, that was powerful. So, both their legacies, still live in me, and I see so much of myself, of each of them in me.
Mhm.
And it's helped me become the woman that I am. And even like some of the things that they did, like the hoarding part, I didn't collect that part. They were both kind of hoarders, not like hoarders are now, like messy, nasty, but just keeping things. And it was
Yeah,
like retaining it. And I think it's because they worked so hard for what they had. They didn't really let things go so easily because of how hard they had to work for it. But I knew when I grew up, I said, I'm not going to be that. I'm not going to do so. The things that I didn't think were good. I didn't duplicate those things as an adult. I'm like intentional about, and you see me, I mean, my house is, it only has the bare necessities in it,
she don't have dirt on anything, y'all. I feel scared walking in here with my shoes on.
And poor little Rocky, her dog, he comes in the house. I was like, I don't have nothing on the floor for you. If
Mhm.
it's nothing on the floor, I'm shocked. Ain't nothing on the floor. You're gonna starve to death trying to find something on my floor.
You
But
sure is.
he looked through me, opened his eyes, looking at us. But yeah, so it's like, I'm intentional about just being clean and only having the bare necessities, not a lot of clutter. And I'm always purging, because I just do not want to become that person just who that just has stuff,
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's not a lot that I would change about how they raised me because I know they did everything in love, and I can understand when you were talking about how your mom had the people, your friends and stuff come to your house. I totally understand that. My parents didn't let me spend a night over nobody's house, and I didn't understand it then. But now that I see what's happened with kids
Yeah.
that did spend the night in people's houses, they got molested, they got raped, and you can't go back and fix that.
No.
Some of them even changed their sexual preference because of the abuse that took place when they were children. But my parents didn't allow anyone to do that because I was always with them. So if my friends wanted to have a sleepover, they had to come over there. I couldn't go and spend the night. Even relatives, they didn't let us go spend the night at relatives' house either, which I totally understand now
Yeah.
that too. So there was a protection there that I think a lot of times now parents don't do that. And if you're offended by this, I'm sorry. Don't be offended if you're not one that protects your child. But if you don't protect your child, you should be offended.
Yeah.
Because you're setting your child up to be hurt. So you need to go back to that old school way of being protective and being okay. I remember before they even left this earth, I thanked them for raising me the way they did. So I thank God that I had the gumption to thank them Like, thank you so much for raising me and being strict the way you were. I didn't understand it as a child, but now that I'm old enough, I understand. So, I thank God for that. And I made sure to tell them I love them every time I talk to them. And, so I have no, like, I wish I should have did this, should have did that. I, I said everything I wanted to say while they were here. Yeah. So, and I think that's what helps me to have peace. And so instead of remembering them with sadness, I remember them with joy, the good times we had. You don't have anything. She said she didn't have anything. Sorry. So we just want to come on and chit chat with y'all. We thank you for tuning in with us. If you have anything to chat, go ahead and put that in there. But it's amazing how you could be raised with two different families, but still come out to be these two beautiful women that we are. That's crazy. Mind like that. We should have twinned. Oh, that's we should have did tonight. Yeah. Okay. Another time. Yes, we can do that. So again, appreciate the memories. If you are blessed enough to still have your family on this side of heaven, love them, make great memories, appreciate them, say and share everything with them that you want to share, and then sit at their feet and let them share with you. It's nothing more precious than the great memories you can have with your parents. Don't take it advantage of it. Don't abuse it, but appreciate it because you still have opportunity. There are so many, kids who walk around saying, "I'm mad at my mom. I'm mad at my dad. I don't want to spend time with them." Like, you still have them. Why are you? If my mom and dad were back, man. But I know that God had His time and purpose for them, and it was served. And I know that I'll see them again. I have peace in that. So, but in the meantime, I just enjoy the memories that they shared, and I'm continuing to make them proud, even in this life that I'm living. I want to make sure that people would say about my parents, "Your parents must have really been good because you turned out to be pretty awesome." And then I can say they were. Like my niece a little while ago, a couple hours ago, I was doing something with my hair, and she was on the camera. And she's like, "Oh, you look like mama." She said I look like her grandmother, which is my mother. I said, "Thank you." Then I'm cute then. I had a plastic bag on my head and everything. I said, "That must be really cute." She said, "You really look like grandma. You really." She was laughing. I was like, "Thank you. Thank you." It's like, hey, okay, that's good. Because that's my mama. She didn't look like her. But she don't realize she looks like me. So when she get older, she gonna be looking like grandma. Exactly the same. Yeah. So there, okay. So tune in with us next time. I'm sure we'll come back with something else because we just roll like that and she crazy. I said it this time. But if we go crazy, we crazy about Jesus. That part. That part. Okay. Say it for people in the back. That's it. That's it. Jesus. That's it. We crazy about him. So thank God he's made us who we are today. And so we're going to keep on walking this path and just being great at what we do. So, but in the meantime, we love you all. Make sure you love on your parents and let them know how much you appreciate them. And until next time, may his peace be with you till we meet again. Love you. Bye for now.